After years of heavily censoring any negative news about its economy, there seems to be an official acknowledgement that China's businesses are struggling and job seekers are having a tough time. And this was said directly by Chinese President Xi Jinping during his 2024 New Year Eve's speech.
Some enterprises had a tough time. Some people had difficulty finding jobs and meeting basic needs. All these remain at the forefront of my mind.
And this is the first time that President Xi has mentioned economic challenges in his New Year's speech that he started giving since 2013. Knowing what is happening in China is very important. If China faces economic problems, it may react in unpredictable ways. And it may have consequences for the world economy and peace. In fact, President Biden has called China a ticking time bomb, and that may ultimately have an impact on your wallet. Beyond the United States, China has the maximum ability to impact the world economy. And hence, we often talk about China on this channel. China's economy has been plagued by a host of problems, and it all seems to be coming together like a perfect storm. China's problems include record high youth unemployment, returning home as full-time children, real estate crisis, ghost cities, struggling with deflation and not inflation, mounting financial stress at local government level, and sluggish external demand. Let's review these one by one. So first is the high youth unemployment and this very interesting concept of full-time children. Leaks from Chinese social media show that a particular term is getting very popular with Chinese youth nowadays. It's the phenomena of full-time sons and daughters, also known as full-time children. They are typically hired by their families and also paid a monthly salary to take care of host of domestic duties, from performing household chores to taking care of young and elderly relatives. But most of the tens and thousands of people who are identifying and stay-at-home children on social media say that they are retreating back to their home not out of choice, but simply because they can't find jobs.
每天呢，我就是陪陪父母啊，完了之后再去买菜，中午做个饭，在下午再去取个快递啊，完了之后打扫家里，洗洗衣服。
The jobless rate for 16 to 24-year-olds in urban areas in China hit 21.3% last month. But the real problem may be even bigger. Zhang Dandan, an associate professor at Peking University, wrote in an opinion piece for news outlet Caxin that if additional 16 million people who are staying at home and not actively looking for jobs are included in these jobless numbers, then the true unemployment rate for youth in China could be as high as 46%. This phenomena of full-time children is a big risk to China. See, if young people are simply retreating back to their homes instead of being actively in the market, learning skills, trying to find employment, then very soon they may become permanently unemployable. And it all started because of another big problem in China, a prolonged property downturn. As the new year 2024 started, news came that Chinese wealth manager Zhongzhi Enterprise Group has been declared bankrupt. Zhongzhi is a major player in China's $12 trillion shadow banking sector. This shadow banking sector, which reached about 12 trillion in size, accounted for about 86% of China's GDP in 2019, according to a report published by country's banking regulator. So what is shadow banking? See, shadow banking refers to banking related activities that take place outside the traditional banking system. An equivalent for US and West would be activities that are done by private equity managers and wealth funds or hedge funds. But in China, it involves different type of financial activity. Most of these shadow banks include things like wealth management, trust funds, and pooled savings. Shadow banks get money from these trust funds and pooled savings, for example, and then they use these money to give out loans. Such loans were primary source of credit for China's real estate sector. Now, as long as property prices were always rising, these trust funds could show these assets as rising in value in their books. But now, Chinese real estate prices are going down with no buyers in sight for these vast amount of properties that have been built.
So China developers over the years have built way too many houses. If you travel around China, you see half-completed buildings everywhere.
So when these prices go down, the value of property assets and loans goes down in the books of shadow banks. So what do? They have to turn to their other assets like government bonds, etc., and start selling those to meet their liabilities. That in turn reduces the value of those holdings like bonds in the market. Simple principle. Fire sale going on, prices go down. So this vicious cycle has caused cash crunch for shadow banks, which in turn are then unable to lend any more money to the real estate sector. And the second source of money for the builders were the home buyers themselves. Developers in China have a very simple but curious business model. Sell your homes before they are complete. So they'll sell the home, get money from buyers, and instead of completing one project, use this money to launch another project. This allowed them to expand their business at a much more rapid pace. But this model, again, like a Ponzi scheme, works only when there are a constant stream of new buyers coming into the market to buy all these new under construction schemes that are being launched. But now, the demand for new houses has almost completely collapsed.
The skyscrapers are empty, the streets are without traffic, and chilling silence emanates throughout the area. These are the scenes of China's ghost cities.
According to official data, in the year 2021, 22 and 23, the new construction start as measured by floor area dropped by 2%, 11% and 39% year on year. And this sagging demand in real estate is fueling something even more dangerous for the Chinese economy. It's deflation. Yeah, you heard it right. It's not inflation. While the US and the rest of the world has been struggling with rising prices, China is facing a completely different set of problems. So China has been fighting slumping prices for most of 2023 due to drop in property prices and general sluggish demand. And why is that a problem? See, deflation is bad for any economy because consumers as well as businesses, they postpone their purchasing and investment in anticipation of prices falling down further. That in turn will again slow down the economy further, and it creates a vicious cycle.
It threatens to become a downward spiral if you can't really shore a lot of those things up. People are holding off on purchases, and the expectation that prices are just going to continue to move lower and lower. Then you sort of have the self-fulfilling prophecy of more deflation begets additional deflation.
That is why central banks across the world want inflation. Controlled, small amount of inflation, but always inflation. China's Producer Price Index, PPI, which is driven by the prices of commodities and raw material, fell again by 3% in November 2023. This was 14th consecutive drop in PPI. So China has a very large consumer market, which is true, but all these consumers have tightened their purse strings. They're not spending, one, because they're concerned with deflation, and they have a big concern about the overall status of the economy. So they're not buying anything. And this has been most visible in the prices of pork in China. And why is pork important? See, as China's most consumed meat, pork has an outsized role in China's consumer price index. But pork prices have been continuously sliding down and are down 30% year on year. This is the biggest reflection of weak consumer demand and sentiment in China. One that the Chinese government is going to find very hard to overcome. And a lot of it is their own doing. There's a lot of financial stress at local government level. Many Chinese cities and provincial governments are facing a huge cash crunch.
$23 trillion debt crisis facing provinces all across China. Its struggles are an ominous sign for President Xi Jinping.
These local governments had to spend billions of dollars to enforce total lockdown and mass testings during President Xi Jinping's zero COVID tolerance policies. And then now this crisis in property market with lower prices and no buyers has deprived these local governments of a major revenue source. Now desperate times calls for desperate measures. So local governments are resorting to high-handed methods to collect revenue. Some of these involve enforcing ridiculous regulations like fining restaurants for serving cucumber without license. Yes, 3 restaurants in Shanghai were fined about 5,000 yuan for serving shredded cucumber on the cold noodles without having a license for it. This caused quite an uproar in China. At least 15 Chinese cities reported 100% increase in revenue collected through fines and confiscations in 2021. But fining individuals and small businesses are only going to hurt the economy further and shake business confidence. It may also lead to more dissent against authorities. And to top all the internal problems that China is having, they're also facing sluggish external demand. Externally, demands from China's key trading partners like the US and the European Union are expected to remain sluggish in the near term, thanks to much higher interest rates in these geographies, which make investments locally much more interesting. And also, there is this problem of political tensions between US, EU and China. So this is going to further hamper manufacturing production in China. A report by US Census Bureau last year in July showed that China's share of US imported goods fell to its lowest level since 2006. The actual share of imported goods from China in US was about 14.6% last year. This percentage was at 21.8% in 2018, before then President Donald Trump started imposing sanctions and restrictions on Chinese imports. The World Bank has cut China's GDP forecast multiple times, with the latest being cut from 4.8 to 4.4% for 2024. And what were the reasons given by World Bank? Persistent domestic problems, elevated debt, property weakness, and an aging population. IMF went even a step ahead, where they say that China may grow around 5% in 2024, but then it expects its growth to slow down even further in the coming years. They are projecting that China would grow rest of the decade at about 3.5%. And IMF is citing slowing productivity, or aging demography as its major concerns. China's economy is definitely struggling, as acknowledged by President Xi himself. But it is expected that Chinese government is going to use every tool at its disposal to prop up its economy. And there is also silver lining in this for countries like US. See, the lower prices in China means there is a fire sale going on there. So external foreign countries like US can get their hands on goods at a cheaper price. That may help countries like US fight inflation here at home. One big impact of this is already seen in the prices of gas. China is the largest consumer of gas in the world. So a slowdown in Chinese economy has resulted in a weak demand for gas. That in turn is keeping the US gas prices relatively stable or even lower, given what else is going on in the world with wars in Ukraine and Israel-Palestine. Despite all those trouble, oil prices have not really gone up because of weak demand in China. If you like this video, check out this other video about China. I would also appreciate if you can give a like to this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.